Hello everybody, it's Nim and welcome back to my channel. So today we are building an old church and very rare that I use CC in my builds, but I have to be honest, this build consists almost out of only CC. Like the entire inside of this church is CC. I found on the Sims resources, I found this vampire church pack, so I downloaded that and it had so many amazing things. And I just instantly knew I have to build a church with this pack. I just knew it, so that's what I'm doing today. Also, I'm very sorry if you hear all sorts of noise in the background. Apparently, my entire neighborhood knows when I'm making videos, and that's when they decide to go out and be loud. That's kind of the thing that's happening now for the past hour already. I've been trying to make this voiceover for like almost an hour, and every time I start this voiceover, something happens, like in the middle or just at the end, and I have to start over. And at this time, I'm just hoping that nothing happens, because I'm kind of done. I will not start over, and you will just hear background noise. And I'm completely fine with that. Also, if you hear some ticking in the background, that is my solar clock that is ticking. I can't turn that off because, you know, obviously the sun is shining, so it is ticking. Also, if you hear like this weird buzzing noise, it is my fan because it is 31 degrees in my bedroom and I am melting away, quite literally. So, you know, a fan is necessary. So if you hear something in the background, that's it. Anyway, let's go back to this build. So we are now building the exterior, and we're putting in the windows and the doors in this church. And you know, like when you go to like old towns, you have this town church that is always kind of a little bit creepy, but also really pretty inside. That was the idea I had for this church. So it's supposed to be like this little old town church kind of vibe. And I think I quite succeeded in that, even if I say so myself. We are going to play around with some of the heights with walls, because I wasn't sure if I wanted like tall or medium height walls. We end up going with tall walls on the lower grounds, and then regular walls on all the upstairs levels. So there is that. Also, these windows, they match so well, and you will see that it will match even better once I add like the paints on the walls. We will go with this kind of a brick vibe, because I wanted it to be like this old spooky church as you would like see when you were walking in this old abandoned town. Maybe there are some spooking things going on. And I was actually looking for my CC windows here, but apparently I deleted them out of my game. So there is that. So no CC windows. Otherwise, I had the perfect church windows, but we are now just using the round cats and dog ones, which is fine as well. So we are now just painting the walls, and I think that this brick really binds everything together. Also, that's been happening the entire day. Buses driving by the entire day. I was thinking of maybe putting some columns, but I ended up like deciding against it, just because I felt like it wasn't the vibe. And obviously every church has this little pastry, I think that's called, so where the pastor is behind, where it's like his office and his workspace and everything like that. So churches normally have like this little mosaic floor, at least where I'm from, they have these mosaic floors. We don't have that in the Sims, so these ones that I think are pretty enough, so we're just using regular brick. And then on the upstairs levels we are using wood, because, you know, why would you put brick on upstairs levels? You would place wood there. Also, we are using a lot of candles. There are no regular lights in this build, there are only candles. And I think it really like brings some of the aesthetic out. And now you see me, I just filled it on CC, and we are using all the CC. So these paintings, I love them. They remind me of paintings that you would actually see in a church like that. So in case you guys didn't know, like I'm religious and I go to church quite a lot, especially when I'm on holiday. I just like to go into old churches and view the artwork, view the architecture, and just sit there. I like it. It feels home. It feels like home. It feels comfy. I enjoy it. So this is what I wanted to do with this church. I had like in my mind, I had a picture. Well, not really a picture, but in my mind, a mind picture. And I knew what I sort of wanted, and it was just the case of execution it. So this church is actually based off one of the churches that I saw when I was on holiday. I can't actually remember where it was, but I just know that it was somewhere. I think it was in Italy. I'm not quite sure. Either Rome or the south of Germany, one of the two. It's probably Rome. I can't remember anymore. Anyway, I saw like a church like this on holiday. So I felt like I should like kind of rebuild this. And I enjoyed making this so much. I just think that it sucks that it is CC. Like maybe the Sims could actually bring out a pack that is like church-like. Because that would be really cool. I mean, like for me, maybe not for most other people, but for me that would be really cool. So we are obviously using some of these paintings, like, I don't know, kind of like saints and everything. And we are also using that weird little dragon statue because outside we are actually going to have a graveyard, which is very common for all churches. So we're having this graveyard in the garden. And on the other side, we're having a community garden where they can just, like when you're done with church, you can just sit there and talk and maybe have a drink or something like that. Also outside, we are only adding candles in these lights. And I love it. It brings like this really creepy aesthetic. If you guys have ever played Outlast 2, you know what I'm talking about. Like that kind of vibe. It just gave me that. Or like the nun from James 1. Like that sort of a vibe. It just gave me that and I really enjoy it. And then obviously a church needs church benches, so obviously we don't have the church benches like you would normally have in church, so we need to improvise a little bit, and we're using these garden benches. And I feel like it actually works out pretty good. And then this is like the thing where you can make confessions to your priest and then you'll be forgiven. So obviously there's like a bench. It's just a shame that there isn't a curtain in front of that, because now people can just see who is confessing and you're actually not supposed to see it. So we are now working on the the home of the priest or the pastor that lives here. He's quite modern, you know, he has a computer, it's fine, but everything else is just off the grid. No electricity needed, except for that computer. I actually put it on the gallery as a park, I think I put it, so your Sims will spawn there. The only downside is that if you obviously don't own these CC packs, the lots will be pretty much empty. And I tried to relocate the CC pack because I wanted to link it down below, but I couldn't find it. So if any of you know where it is, please let me know so I can credit the one who made this, because I can't find it. So maybe you're the one who owns this, made this pack and you're watching this. Let me know, then I can add you in the description, because I do believe in giving credit when credit is due, and I did not make it, so it's not really fair to just claim it as my own, so I'm not doing that. It is made by someone else, but I really can't remember who, and I can't recall what I typed to get it back, to find this. I'm very sorry, but that's it. Oof. So at this moment we are making the backyard. Well, not really backyard, like sort of one of the graveyard. So I find all these tombstones. I found them in the debug catalog, which is actually pretty nice. I love debug. I used to dislike it because I would never be able to find anything, but you know, you get handier. The more you do it, the more you get into it, and it's completely fine. So we are placing a lot of gravestones here, because you know what, it's in Windenburg, so it's an old town. A lot of people have died here, so you know, you need to have a graveyard for all those people. And that's here. Also, like the statues, those are in my mind, I envision them to be also graveyards, but just really fancy ones. Same with the dragon statue in the back. That was like it's the grave of the founder of this little town. It doesn't make any sense the way the graves are put together, by the way, because they're crisscross all over the place. But you know, hey, who cares? It's an old graveyard. When more modern people die, we will just put them on top of someone, because you know, let's face it, that's how it goes in regular graveyards as well. After X many years, your grave will be emptied and you will be put somewhere else. I'm not actually sure what they do with the remains then. Should look into that. Maybe just throw you into a different grave. Who knows? I have no clue. Well, anyways, like, it's never good to dwell on the past. It's better to live in the present. Because what business do you have, like, searching with the dead? So, I did want this graveyard to kind of have to feel like it's a little bit overgrown. And I think I quite succeeded in that. You will see that in the screenshots as well. And on this side of the church, we are making this little courtyard where you could just have, like, lunch and talk about the sermon and stuff like that. And maybe talk about what the priest said, have some discussions. There'll also be a little pond and just some, like, nature. But pretty well maintained, actually. So it's just like the graveyard side that's a bit overgrown, and the other parts are actually quite nice. Even if I say so myself. Also, that path is like my favorite terrain paint. Because it is tile, but it also has like little bits of grass in between, and I just really like it. Also, this fountain. Wow, I actually never built fountains, but for just this church, I thought that I had to. And it turns out to be really good. At least in my opinion, it turned out to be really good. Maybe you disagree, who knows, like, you're free to disagree, just whatever, I don't really care. So like I said, we're just adding some flowers, not too much because you don't want it to be like overgrown with flowers, that's not necessary. In a minute we are actually gonna come into the screenshots, so guys, if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys!